I appreciate the Flames because I'm guessing earlier today when we were doing the other show, like, okay, well, just hang on. Is Pinder doing it? No, no, no. Is it the in the dome guys? No, no. Boomer and Gould shootout. We got to get to a shootout, boys. I know we're in the third. We're down by one. We got to tie this thing up and then get to OT. But what we got to get to a shootout because it's Boom and Gould doing that afterburner tonight. Guess
Dean, did you watch all 60 minutes or 65 minutes of tonight's game?
I sure did, buddy. Sitting right here. Pretty much right in this general vicinity where I am right now.
That's dedication.
Did you?
I did for the most part. I missed a couple minutes in the first period. So
how are you expected to analyze this matchup?
I know there was so much going on. That's the critical thing is that you blink and you miss something.
I had this, found this. Of course, this is it's not new, but this Islanders Flames kind of this meme came to mind as the game wore on. It's low scoring, tight checking. It's like, oh, because I'm kind of low scoring and my power play is not for and your specialty and our goal. It's all goaltending. So that's kind of what I felt like in this game. We said this morning. So is it 3-2, 2-1, 1-0 in the end? 2-1. Goals at a premium. Flames win it for what it's worth. They've won 3 of 4 back-to-back games. They've given up 1 in regulation in the last whatever it is. And of course, the story of the game, once again, Dustin Wolf.
Yeah, he's remarkable. He truly is remarkable. I mean, that one cross crease save that he made in that third period, it was something that took you out of your seat in a game where the only reason you get out of your seat is to go to the bathroom. Really. I mean, it was just, I know it's a little bit gross, but it's what are you going to do? It was remarkable. It was something that sort of gave you that realization of, oh, this is why I'm watching, is because Dustin Wolf, the way that he's playing right now is it's not Calder Trophy. It's not just Calder Trophy worthy. It's not just, ticket worthy. He's playing like he's one of the best goaltenders in the league, and there's really no bones about it. I think I just did the back of the napkin calculation. He's up to a 925 save percentage on the year. That puts him third in the league. I mean, he's ahead of Connor Hellebuck. He's ahead of pretty much every goaltender worth his jersey in this league, and that's because he is also one of those top end guys.
Yeah, he and I know Francis and the guys were talking about it. It's like you just have to move past he's small, whatever. That's done. It's just that's no longer part of the equation unless something happens where his game leaves him altogether, gets the yips, and pucks are going through screens and beating him. But Warner said it on the other show today. You look like he's competing. It's my net. I deserve to be here, and you're not going to beat me tonight. There's a real kind of an attitude that I think you need to have as a goaltender. Never mind how big you are. He just looks like a guy he's arrived. And it's funny. Kelly kind of said it on the TV broadcast. It's like, yeah, he's not going back to the American Hockey League, and it's like, yeah, like no kidding.
Yeah, kidding.
he's here to stay. It's exciting. We spent a lot of time kind of talking about a lot of other players, and here's the guy, right? Wolf, because he's been around. He's not, not 18, he's not 19, but of all the talented players, whether it's Coronado, Zary, we don't know, Pelche's down the road, and then of course Perrick gets drafted. You just feel like this is the guy that's going to be this is going to be the toast of all of them. The 7th rounder is the guy that's going to be the best of the bunch.
He's a foundational piece. There's no bones about it. And he's a foundational piece at the position that it is toughest to procure. Any goaltender who will stick around for your team over any length of time. And, the biggest difficulty with goaltenders is maintaining this level. The encouraging thing with Dustin Wolf is that he's always been at this level. And it doesn't really matter what level he's played at. He's always maintained this excellence. I have watched Dustin Wolf very closely. I was there at his very first pro game. I was one of only 4 or 5 people who was there for his first pro game. Humble brag. But it was, I have watched this goaltender probably, I don't want to say more than a lot of people, but more than a lot of people. And I have never seen him put together more than 2 bad games in a row. And 2 bad games in a row is pushing it. Like he seldom gets shelled in back-to-back games. I can maybe think of 1 or 2 instances in his entire professional career. And that's going back to, the very beginning of the pandemic, 4 years ago now. And he is just something special. He is
Yeah.
someone who has always excelled. And right now with the Flames, it would be something else entirely if the Flames were, fluking their way into these wins and they were getting these goals that went in off of somebody's ass. And it was just like, okay, well, you're 10-6-3 or whatever they are now, but you don't really deserve it. Well, it's different when it's a star goaltender who's 23 years old, who is projected to be potentially the face of this franchise, or at least one of them, who is leading the team to these wins. And that's exactly what Dustin Wolf is doing. So from that standpoint, even if it takes the Flames out of the lottery conversation for a chunk of this season, I can't really complain about it.
Yeah. It's quite a spot when because they're not scoring a lot, and I'll get you to trot out your first period stat in a moment, but you go into this hockey game, and if you could, go back in time, we're going to score 1 in regulation tonight. You're going to have to, that's what we're going to get you. We're going to give you 1 goal in regulation. And you know what? Tonight it was enough. So it's pretty impressive. I'm just kind of looking at his numbers now. 4-0-1 in his last 5, 7-2-1. It's you don't want to start saying stuff because then people will come back. Oh, you guys were all telling me how great he was, but you don't even need to be shy. He's up there with the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League, and I guess it is still just November, and a lot can happen. Like Huska said today, guys, we got a lot of season left, and injuries and all kinds of things can happen. But you know what? There's not a whole lot to celebrate sometimes, and when the guy's playing this great, why wouldn't you? He's playing his ass off. And I saw in the chat, you've got Shesterkin and the Rangers. We assume maybe it'll be Shesterkin. It might not be. But if it is, then how about the soon-to-be $11-12 million man against Wolf in the net? And let's go toe-to-toe.
Absolutely. Awesome. No question in my mind. You go back to Wolf in 2 days. No question. He's had 2 outstanding games in a row. I mean, for my money, like it would be the same, with Vladar if he was coming off that shutout the last time. His next game, he goes back in, didn't play so great. But if he had a good game again, I'd go right back to him. You ride the hot hand, and right now Wolf's the hot hand, and he just so happens to be your future cornerstone piece.
Yeah,
I would be disappointed if he doesn't play on Thursday.
This performance was as good as a shutout in a lot of ways, right? This was he made some big saves. There was the one off Holmstrom on that one-timer in the slot on the power play. Horvat in the third. There were plenty of great opportunities that the Islanders had. You look at 28 saves, the 2-1 win, but it really he had to be as good as he was, and then the Flames get it. Now, I guess aside from that, did they deserve it? I don't know. Let's go outside the crease. What did you make of everyone else tonight?
We were texting, intermittently throughout the game, just about how boring the game was, because it was a bit of a sleeper. I would not begrudge anybody in the chat if they were catching some Z's in the middle of that second period. Because
I liked watching Sarich and Leslie and Fran. Well, the Islanders, hey, they really like to, and the Islanders, Flames also had a bit of a hand in that too. It was not the most scintillating of matchups.
No,
but both teams struggle to score. Both teams struggle on special teams. They rely on their goaltending. That we saw a 2-1 game was probably it's the most predictable thing that you could have forecast. But you may as well win if it's going to be one of these slog fests, and where neutral zone, try and make hit the line with speed or make any kind of a pass through the neutral zone. It's not getting through. You won, and you found a way to win it. And the Anderson goal comes at 8:17 on the power play, which is their first power play goal in 5 games.
Yeah, and that power play looked really good. Power play looked really good, and it was pretty surprising to me. They were moving the puck around very well, and it ultimately culminated in that fantastic goal, a one-timer from way up high, and Rasmus just continues to push this team forward, whether they want to or not. And he's just sort of been the emotional heart of the team. It sort of makes the conversations about his future even more interesting. But for now, I mean, you can't complain. Nice to see Pospisil get a point after what's been going through with him recently, and Kadri as well, having an okay game by his recent standards. And Anderson just kind of uncorking one, and be nice if some of the forwards on this team could follow his lead.
Yeah, being led on offense by the defense at this point. Anderson with his 12th point in 19 games to lead the team. We've got the goal. And it was one of those, just put your head down and bury it. Just hit this thing as hard as you can. We're moving it around. Okay, back to you, back to me.
This game, the Flames were not moving the puck laterally, forward, backward, really with any sort of authority in the offensive zone. They weren't really having Varlamov do very much.
Yeah.
And they eventually got him to move around, and that's what got them their only goal.
I thought he was okay. I thought that there were some saves. It's hard because if then you play the next game and it could be scoring chances could be through the roof, and then you look back, it's like, no, there really was nothing going on in that Islander game. But both goalies had to be at or near their best for their team to have a chance to win. And both teams did have a chance to win this one. And for the Islanders, we were looking at it. They played in Edmonton on the start of this road trip a week ago tonight. They still play in Detroit before they get to go home. It's like a 9-10 day trip. So it's
all over the place too.
And I don't know. Maybe it's talking out of both sides of your mouth. There's not a whole lot to be excited on that Islanders team.
No, and the other issue there is that not only is there not a whole lot to be excited about, granted Matt Barzal's not currently in the lineup, but at the same time, the Islanders have not had the recent drafts that the Flames have had, to the point where you're sort of going back through their top prospects. They got Cole Yzerman in the first round last year. He looks pretty good, but he was a bit of a later first round pick. They don't really have a Zane Parekh level prospect. They don't really have I would even say a Dustin Wolf level prospect. And so you're looking at the Islanders, and kind of what you see is what you get. And so, I think I haven't checked the standings, but I saw somebody say their record now is 7-7-5. I mean, that there kind of screams excitement.
Yeah. And we were talking about it. They've not been a playoff team. They've not been a good team, but because they have dished off so many assets to bring in the Horvats and the JP Pageaus and that over the year, you would think, okay, you're struggling, but that next wave of young guys, and maybe they're coming. And sorry to the Islander fans if we're not paying close enough attention, but it just does not feel like they're heading in the right direction or anywhere soon. I was looking, so as far as the power play, and I get it's all teams deal with this. And we talk about it. I guess we just have to stop talking about it because it's now going on 2 years, how you can be middle of the pack in terms of offense, goals for, but have such a bad power play. They're 4-1-2 in games this season now, because this is what, their 8th power play goal. They're 4-1-2 in games where they get a power play goal. Just one. They scored 2 in the second game of the season. But it makes such a difference. And you think if it was just a little bit better, we're not even really talking about. Seravalli said it the other day. If they keep getting this goaltending from one or the other or both, then this has got the makings of a playoff team.
It's a super weird scenario for them right now. Nobody is really working on the power play. I mean, we saw that one sequence, great, but that's just one sequence, and consistently it just hasn't been there. I mean, I don't know what you have to do. I don't know if it's the personnel. I don't know if it's the coaching. I mean, the other aspect of it right now for the Flames is that it's not just the power play that's not generating. Their forwards aren't generating it even strength. I mean,
yeah.
You sort of alluded to it earlier. I'm going to just say it right now. The Flames have not scored in the first period at home this month at all. They have played, I think, 5 or 6 games at home now. They have not scored in the first period once. They have scored in the first period twice in total this month. In total. And it was Tyson Barrie against Boston, and it was Justin Kirkland against Vancouver, and that's it. And again, tonight, only the one goal. So it's, it is true. Recently it's been, kind of weird that their power play hasn't been very good and their even strength play has been better. Well, right now, everything is kind of just sort of on the downswing for the Flames when it comes to the offensive side of the game. And quite frankly, even they're allowing chances. Like, it's not like their 5-on-5 play it has been, it's not like their record has been fueled by their 5-on-5 play. Their record has been fueled by their goaltending, and that's really what it comes down to. Their record is entirely. I mean, it is so weird right now that in a league where scoring is way, way, way up and save percentages are way, way, way down, the Flames are the complete opposite, where their shooting percentage is near the bottom of the league. Like, they're down there with Edmonton right now. And their save percentage is by far the best in the league at 5-on-5. Like, it went up again tonight. Wolf had a 958 or whatever he did. So they just don't make any sense.
And it's hard. So which is off from where, regressing to the mean and that sort of thing? Should they be scoring more? Should the goaltending come back down to earth? Should the power play be a little bit better? So what's going to kind of normalize, or is this just what it's going to be? Because if the goaltending stays and then 5-on-5 play comes back a little bit, and if your power play comes in a little bit, but then if you worry that if the goaltending goes away, then you're sunk.
I think they're due to score more. I mean, by all means, guys like Sharangovich and Kuzmenko and Zary are going to start scoring. It is, they haven't forgotten how to play hockey. They have had good chances. I mean, Zary looked good again tonight. Kuzmenko had a really nice goal in the shootout. Ultimately, they are shooting at an unsustainably low clip. The goaltending, it is very high. And for a lot of goaltenders, that sort of save percentage of 925 would be unsustainable. For Wolf, is it unsustainable? I don't know. The difference with the goaltending versus the shooting is that the Flames shooters are not historically awful. It's not like they're we're watching the 2003-04 Pittsburgh Penguins. The Flames, nobody really expects them to be a playoff team, and hey, they might end up being a playoff team, but nobody really expected them to score their way to the playoffs. But at the same time, nobody expected them to, finish last in the league in goals for. There's some offensively talented players on this team. On the flip side, there are extremes, and Wolf might actually be at that extreme. That's the whole thing, right? So it's really hard to tell at this point. It's still a relatively small sample, but I would bank on the shooting improving before Wolf falls off a cliff.
Yeah, and we don't need to repeat ourselves, but it's the story of the hockey game is Wolf, and it's looking at he's the story of the season. While other players, their play elevates or sags, he has just been steadily getting better and better. Our home away from home for Afterburner is Richmond's Pub. We were there a few weeks ago. We're going back in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. I don't know how it worked because we were there on a Tuesday. We're going to be back there on a Tuesday, and I think we got 3 booked, and we're going on Tuesday nights. Happens to be wing night. I don't know if that was for me. I don't know if I appreciate it if that's the case. Is there any chance we could get you out to Richmond some night for one of our shows?
When are we going to do the next one, Dean?
It is December the something, 3rd, 5th,
December the 3rd, right?
Yeah,
3rd. Yeah, I think so. What day of the
great
week
to
is
see
that?
you.
Yeah, let's do that.
It'd be so great.
Tuesday all day long. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah,
the Columbus Blue Jackets in town. It'll be an emotional one for sure.
It will be.
I'll have some wings in honor of our buddy. Richmond's Pub, Barn Burner Blonde from Origin Brewing, available at Richmond's as well. Wings on Tuesdays. They got all kinds of things going on. It's a great spot. I saw they were doing the Grey Cup the other night. They have got a big day planned for American Thanksgiving next Thursday. Ooh. It's turkey and gravy and buns and stuff. Ooh, mama.
Dean's got
but of course, and there's always something going on. And right now they've got their football VIP package, flights, hotel, $500 in spending cash, tickets to go and see the Niners at Levi. Actually, you know what? That was that last one. It's the Cowboys. They got the one coming up. It's the Cowboys and the Bengals at AT&T Stadium. You got to be there on a Thursday to qualify. One person qualifies every Thursday. Then at the end of the month, everybody's got to come back, the 4 qualifiers, and we pull one name. And that's going to happen that night that we're there, actually. We're going to pull the name out and say, hey, you, Bill Terwilliger, pack your bags, bucko. You're going down to Big D.
What about Cecil?
Cecil. Don't take Cecil. Cecil's they don't sound like they're
I think he's in jail.
Not winning anything.
No.
Whenever the Flames are playing, it's a Flames game day. That means Coors Light, Coors Original, Coors Seltzer is on special. And yes, we're getting back there. It's the, you know what? Sports live here. Richmond's Pub, 3919 Richmond Road in the heart of Glamorgan. I went with the, I went with the dill pickle because I'm kind of a sucker for that. And the hot, tremendous.
Dill pickle. That's a good call.
Yeah,
that's a good call.
One, you get one order on the dry, one of the order of the wet. Ryan Pike did the salt and pepper.
That's a good call too.
Not sure. I'm guessing the reviews were positive.
Yeah. Pike does strike me as a salt and pepper guy. Yeah. Just sort of a little basic, but gets the job done.
That's right. I love the fourth line. It's one of the, when you have one, you love them. When you don't, it's what are we? Are we getting the forecheck? Lomberg, he's probably making too much money, but and he's not going to intimidate anybody. You would think if you're going to pay somebody that, are you a fighter? What are you? He's just he's the guy you love having on your team. And again tonight, it's I don't want to get carried away. There's a little bit more skill than I think maybe he gets credit for that we maybe see sometimes. He's able to kind of fight off checks and hold pucks and make some plays down low, cause turnovers, and that's what you want out of your fourth line. He's even brought the life out of Rooney, because I think before this season, if you were to ask, so what do you think of Rooney? I have no opinion. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. But now he looks like, he's made him a bit of a player, and he kind of, like you want guys to do, you drag him in. Kirkland still continues to make some play. It's nothing fancy, but in the first period, I think it was, they had that the one line hemmed for about a minute 15, minute 20.
Yep.
And crowd gives him around. Well done.
The fourth line probably had the only good sequence of the first period for the Flames. I mean, it was a real snoozer for the first 45, 50 minutes of regulation. The first 20 was real tough. What? I mean, it was a real snoozer. What? What's so funny?
No, it's all right. It's all right.
No, just Dean, I need my sleep. I mean,
I was going to say, so what's going on? Well, usually you're full. You know what you are? You're full of vim and vigor. Ordinarily.
No, I'm usually quite rambunctious, but no, tonight somebody was asking in the chat when my birthday is. I think it's just the sort of the lull before the big day. It's on Thursday.
Are you having a birthday, bud?
It's on Thursday. Yeah. I'm gonna be on the show. I'm gonna be on the show on my birthday. It'll be
on this show.
On this show.
What a way to celebrate
this program. It's going to be this is the program you want to be on.
So Pinder opted off the show I got you on your birthday.
That's right. That's why I give the gifts on my birthday. And in that case, I gave it to Ryan. No, but
there's a chance. There's a chance that will come up tomorrow on the other show.
It probably will.
Yeah, there's a chance it might make its way on there. Chances are.
No, Mickey, I'm not going to be 40, but in any event, not quite.
Almost. I'd love to be 40.
No, I think Dean's about to be 40, right?
I'd love to be 40.
About to be. No, I liked Lomberg tonight. He had good energy. Other guy I liked tonight was Miramonov. He was really good tonight. I was talking about him during the show before the show. 10 shot attempts for Daniil Miramonov tonight. He had 6 scoring chances, I want to say. Go natural static. What is making you laugh?
Miramonov, I don't know.
I like him.
I don't know why. It's like he had 10 attempts.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. There we go. That's something.
Now you know how many of them got on net, Dean?
How many?
3.
Well, but we're building.
It's getting there. It's getting there. He's been better. He's been a lot better. He's been picking it up. He's been picking up the pieces.
Dude looks good! Exclamation point is what you texted me.
I did. He looked good. Yeah,
Well,
I think he, 10 shot attempts. He had a couple of them that went off his own guys. A couple of them went off, a couple of them that went off the Islanders' backsides. But hey,
yeah.
he was sure shooting them. He was just firing them. He was doing the old Michael Stone routine, and he's got Stone's number on backwards. So I
Is
can't
that what it
fault him
is?
for that.
You
Yeah.
know, the D is funny because individually we know what Anderson is and Uyghur, and then there's a drop. We're finding and learning more about Ball, and some nights are good and some nights are a little clunky. It was a little clunky tonight, I thought, for him.
Mm-hmm.
But as a group, the collective, they don't hurt themselves very often.
No.
I just think last year before, where Jacob Markstrom, it'd be 1-0 before the water had even frozen in one end of the rink, before you got into your seat because they'd given up something. It was odd man rushes and breaks. You don't see a whole lot of those breakdowns, which is all you want. And it's repetitive, but just don't let me see you. If we're
Yeah.
seeing you, it's probably because you've made an awful play and you've fallen down. They take pretty good care of themselves, all things considered.
They do. I think they have a relatively strong next man up mentality. Like Miramonov had an awful first 3 weeks of the season, but there were other guys who were playing well. Ball was playing well. Pahal was playing well. Recently, I think, yeah, you're right. Ball has sort of taken a step back. I think Uyghur has been just okay. But guys are coming back up. Bean is playing well. Miramonov's playing well. So it's just kind of that nice little rotation that they've got going on. You don't have the same guys every night who are playing poorly. I think at the other end, though, it is very easy to get away with mistakes when your goaltender cleans them up for you. And I think there's a certain element of that as well, where, quite frankly, Dustin Wolf is playing better hockey right now than I think I'm going to go out on a limb that Jacob Markstrom ever played in Calgary. This last
Really?
I think so. The last 10 or so games for Dustin Wolf. I mean, you look back at it, Jacob Markstrom had a very, very good year in 21-22, where he had like a 921 save percentage. His other 3 years were pretty unremarkable. And then you go back to that year in specific, and the Flames were a dominant possession team. Scoring was a little bit lower than it is now, even then. They had a really strong defense. They had Chris Tanev playing in front of him. Hannafin was playing in front of him. Zadorov and Goodbranson were playing about as well as they could have been playing under a coach who probably maximized them. I think Markstrom, relative to the defense that is in place in Calgary now, I think probably had a easier time of it in certain respects in that season. Wolf is kind of being thrown to the wolves a little bit, and that's not really disrespect to the defensemen in front of him, who I think are playing to the maximum of their abilities and I think are doing a very good job of it. At the same time, you are looking at a rookie goalie who has a 925 save percentage, and no, he has not just gotten the easy nights. He has played against a wide variety of opponents, and he is also playing behind a team that nobody expected to make the playoffs versus that 21-22 team that was a juggernaut.
Want to have a message here coming up. Ron McLean, Hockey Night in Canada. You may have heard of him. He's actually coming to Calgary here in the next, I think it's a 20. You know what? Why would I babble about it? He's coming to town. Salvation Army. We got to tell you about the Kettle campaign. Here's more.
The Salvation Army's annual Christmas fundraising campaign kicks off November 26th at the Calgary TELUS Convention Center for a magical evening of hockey stories and memories from Ron McLean. Don't miss this incredible and inspiring event. Proceeds and donations go to Salvation Army programs and services that support families and individuals that need some extra help here in Calgary, such as food services, seniors activities, Christmas assistance, summer camps, and so much more. Tickets are on sale now at hopecalgary.ca.
There you go. Ron McLean. The guy can, he can spin a yarn.
I was hoping you'd say that. He's got the market cornered on the spools in this business.
Always fun when Ron is doing his thing. There you saw it on the 26th. Hopecalgary.ca. There is the website to be part of that. The road ahead, we take a look here. A couple games left on the home side before they head out on a 4-game road trip. Thursday, the New York Rangers. We kind of touched on it already. Let's go. If they're gonna Shesterkin this thing, then let's get Wolf in there and let these two go toe to toe. That's the next home game, and then Saturday, the Minnesota Wild. We'll talk about the Wild here in a moment. They win again tonight. They're for real. folks. So there you see it. The win tonight. The other, I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not sure if that's by design or not, but both New York teams end up here in a matter of 3 days. Then it's the Wild, and then they head out. The 2 games that you see there, it's Ottawa, then Detroit, then Columbus, and then Pittsburgh. The Columbus and Pittsburgh games are back-to-back days, and one's a daytime because it's American Thanksgiving and all of that. We'll see where they end up. Those, the 1 o'clock starts and that are generally not super comforting or kind to the Calgary Flames, but we'll see where they are. But by then, which is a week away.
If you are on Team Tank entering this season, it's going to be really tough for the Flames to tank with this schedule coming up, because you're looking at these teams coming to the Dome, the Flames going to go see. I mean, the Rangers are a tough team. They're up 4-3 right now on Vancouver. If Shesterkin's in net, they'll be tough to score on, and the Flames have not been scoring very much. And, Minnesota has been good too. But then after that, you got an Ottawa team that just can't get a save from anybody. I mean, Linus Ullmark going there and just turning into what Korpisalo was last year. I have no idea what's going on with that Senators team. And quite frankly, the team that traded Ullmark isn't doing much better. But at the same time, you're just wondering what's going on in Ottawa with all these goalies who go there. Yeah. You've got Detroit, that is just a horrendous team that has been put together terribly over the last few years. Don't understand what in the world is going on with those Red Wings. I mean, you look at the Red Wings, they are the worst case scenario for the Flames. Really. I mean, if you want to look at how poorly a rebuild can be executed and just sort of going completely off script within 2 years and signing a bunch of old veteran forwards who are completely not matching what that team is trying to build. That's the Detroit Red Wings right now. So the Flames, in my mind, are a better team than them. I would expect the Flames to win that game. You go to Columbus. I mean, they have been such an quite frankly exceeding my expectations after the unthinkable happened. That Monahan line has been fun to watch. They've got some young upstarts who were fun to watch. Still question marks around David Jiricek, what's going to happen with him. But regardless, a good story. But again, a game the Flames should be favored in, I would say. And then a game against Pittsburgh, who lost again tonight. And just nobody seems to know what's going to happen there. So just a really tough stretch coming up for the Team Tank crowd. But if you want to see this Flames team keep winning and maybe sneak into a playoff spot, then, well, these next couple of weeks might really help them.
So that's how it looks. It will be it's not been terribly busy the last little stretch here. They've had 2 games, 3 games in a 10 or 12 day span. So it will ramp up starting with tonight. And then I don't know. It's not like the Wild have just turned the corner. They've been a different team now for a while, but Kaprizov is having some kind of a run. Kind of take a look. We can look at the other scores from around the NHL tonight. The Wild, they win 4-2 over St. Louis. Kaprizov with 2, 1 into an empty net. 12 points in his last 6 games, which gives him 33 points, 1 back of Nate McKinnon for the overall league lead in points.
Yeah, there were people talking in the summer about Kaprizov being an ideal candidate for a trade for Chicago, because that's a team that needs all the help they can get right now, because Bedard is just floating on an island of refuse there. But when it comes to Minnesota, I mean, Kaprizov is kind of picking them up and hoisting them onto his back. I mean, he's been that good. I think he's now tied with Ovechkin for the league lead in goals, or maybe right behind him. He has been, just a phenom, and his next contract is going to be huge. I mean, it's sort of fortuitous for the Wild, or I guess they might have planned it out this way, that it's going to go right onto the books after their buyouts come off. So that's a situation that I'm really looking at with interest. The other thing that I heard today, just sort of playing a game of telephone, but I was told by a friend of a friend who was listening to the Athletic podcast, that Marco Rossi is apparently maybe looking like he's on the outs in Minnesota. So that's something there where, if you're watching that game in a couple of, whenever it is, in 3 or 4 days, that's a player who I'd be looking at, because the Flames obviously in need of centers, but the Wild are too. So that never really meshed. You think of Billy Guerin, a guy who really likes his big forwards and his big defensemen. a little bit of an undersized center, but that's a player who I'd maybe take a gamble on. He was,
Yeah, who I think Bill Garrett might take a chance on a guy like that too.
well, that's the
When you
thing,
hear
right?
stuff like that, it's like,
It's just like, yeah, it's posturing all the way around. But at some point, the trade market's gonna become active at some point. I'm very curious to see what the Flames do, because I don't know if even they anticipated being at this point in the season.
there's no way, right?
No,
There's no way.
no, like 20 games in, being what, 4 or 5 games over 500? No way.
And I know Elliot always talked about, or Elliot kind of brought it up. I don't know if it's him, but the American Thanksgiving. If you're out, how tough it is to get back in, and if you're in a pretty good spot. And even though it's only the end of November, there's enough hockey that's kind of taken place. And if you've put yourself in a pretty good spot, and again, the Flames is pretty tenuous, so it probably doesn't include them. But you look at a team like Winnipeg or Minnesota, they're in great they're in great shape for what's coming. Elsewhere tonight, mentioned Winnipeg. They were blown up by Florida on Saturday, 5-0. Got a little spirited at the end. They come back to Winnipeg. It was back and forth. Jets led 3-0, then 3-2, then 4-2, then 4-3, then a pair of empty netters. Jets win it by a score of 6-3. Scheifele with a hat trick. So a statement game to answer a statement game. I'd watch 7 of those if they wanted to do a meet in the spring and go toe to toe. I'd be there for that.
I'd love seeing the Jets in the final. Are you kidding me? That'd be awesome. I mean, it would be kind of awkward for Paul Maurice after he said he wanted them to win the next cup if they were playing against the Panthers in that final. But yeah, I mean, talk about funny in that the preseason prognosticators were all about the 3 best Canadian teams being Edmonton, Vancouver, and Toronto. Wouldn't it be funny if it was just Winnipeg who ended up just making everybody look stupid and going all the way and just sort of being the team to break that curse? I mean, from my own personal standpoint, Winnipeg, I don't want to see Edmonton break the long drought, and I don't want to see Vancouver necessarily break the long drought, and even Toronto would be kind of, that's, there's a lot of people who I would not want to see happy about that. Winnipeg, though, I wouldn't object to that. I wouldn't complain. I think that's a likable enough team. There's players over there who I like. I kind of like to see Winnipeg win. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people around here, they don't need to see it, because it's the people that cheer for the team.
That's
not so much the team itself.
Right.
The Oilers, for what it's worth, they bounce back after a 3-0 loss to Montreal. They win in Ottawa tonight, 5-2. McDavid 2 and a helper. Draisaitl, Bouchard, a goal and 2 assists each. And for the Senators, they dropped their 3rd straight. You mentioned Pittsburgh. Flames will see them on that road trip. They lose in overtime 3-2. But it's going to be a long year for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I dare say. Braden Point, 2 goals, including the game winner in OT. First game back after he missed 4 games. Tampa had lost 3 in a row, and for the Penguins, it's lost 4 of 5, 6 of 8. They're just piling up. And the other one, I don't know, the Ducks. Ducks win. Ducks win.
Stop the presses. I think that should be in the Herald's sports section tomorrow.
3 in a row, 4 of 5 though.
For the Anaheim Ducks?
Yeah.
The team at the Honda Center?
That's correct.
It's
too much orange. They're so orange.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dean, what do you think of those uniforms?
And I like orange. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
They when they came out with them, I was kind of like, I don't like them now, and I think in 4 years, people are going to say, "How did we ever like these?"
He'll be
it's
like,
just
I'm
like,
not sure what we were thinking there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned what was it? Bedard on a island of feces. What did you? How did it was something?
I think I called it an island of refuse.
Refuse, right? Not feces.
Yeah, that's your editorial.
Yeah, Chicago has lost 3 straight.
They're not good.
So they got Bedard, and then they got another one.
Bedard himself, I mean, he's got 3 goals on the year. I mean, it's just kind of like,
yeah,
what can you do? But it's at a certain point, I mean, if you're the guy, you got to be the guy, right?
Yeah,
it's tough.
But I mean, are we criticizing Connor Bedard?
Nope, is that not at all? It's just at a certain point. I mean, yeah, you need more help, and there's not a whole lot you can do. And you think back to when Nathan McKinnon was with those Avalanche teams that were more skilled than this Chicago team is, and he was putting up 50 points a year. But at another point, I mean, you know, if you're gonna have that generational tag applied to you, the expectations are gonna be higher.
We got to get you some sleep.
Yeah, I'm
He'll
tired.
be okay. He'll be all
fine.
right.
He'll be
Yeah,
fine.
He'll be
He'll
just
be
fine.
fine.
Want to mention this now in the show description on YouTube. You'll be able to click a link. The Nation Network. They want to hear from you. Speak up and score. There it is. Nothing like a good survey. You can go online and have a little survey. What do you like? What don't you like? I don't like this guy. I think I'd like to see more than this. They got some questions there. And just by getting in and having your say, you'll be entered to win a $250 gift card from Fanatics. We got a few of these gift cards to give away. So we'd love to hear from you. It's how we kind of build our content and do what we do. It is powered, whatever that means, by the Nation Network. So there you see it. We'd like to hear from you. And thanks to Fanatics for jumping on board with those gift cards. What would you, I mean, if you were, you know, just, what do you think? Who are some of your, who don't you like on Flames Nation or whatever? Who would you,
Who don't I like?
yeah,
I don't know.
who could you really do without?
You know, Pike's got to add a little bit more color to his
Does he?
columns. He's got to add a little bit more color at times.
That Ryan Pike.
He's
Yeah.
got the fundamentals down, but he could, you know, I think he's a very good man.
Well, there you go. You kind of
chickened out.
Let's go with Bet365, the official gaming partner of Barnburner and Afterburner, the world's largest sports betting platform. When you open a new account, make sure you use that promo code.
It's there.
It's over there.
There we go.
When you open that new account, download the app, get started, use the promo code Nation when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Looking ahead to tomorrow. Now, again, lines can change and things can happen. Predators at the Kraken. I'm looking at the money line. Kraken are their home ice underdogs in this game on the money line. Seattle lost 2-0 against the Rangers on Sunday, but had won 4 straight prior. And the Predators are coming off of a win, but it's game 5 of their 5-game trip through the West. And they had lost 6 of 7 prior to this one win that they got the other night. Get on the Kraken.
Dean, will you be watching this game?
Not a chance. No chance.
I was about to.
But that's what this is about. Because all of a sudden, if you get some Bet365 going in your life, you're like, that's some good data there. Boom. I'm getting on that money line plus whatever the heck it was. Let's go. Then all of a sudden, you know what? You're sitting there and you're cheering for the Kraken.
You know,
you're a big crackhead.
You know who I like to watch on my Wednesday nights is Tommy Novak. He's a centerman. He's 27 years old.
Are you on this Tommy Novak train? Is that what you're?
I'm also a big fan of Will Borgen. He's
old Bill,
old Billy, Billy B.
Old Bill Borgen. Yeah.
Oh, he's a talent. That's
you're
right.
being cheeky.
Hey, you know what? It's a Tuesday night. What can you do?
Bet365, the world's largest sports betting platform. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Get the Bet365 app, would you? You'll appreciate it.
I will.
Yeah, you'll appreciate it. Well, any final thoughts on this matchup?
None that I feel comfortable litigating publicly beyond I do not want to watch this game again.
That's gracious. Yeah, you're not gonna fire up the what about the condensed 10-minute?
The condensed game, YouTube. Dean, I think the condensed game tonight will be 3 minutes. The highlight package.
Imagine putting together the 10-minute condensed highlight pack for that game.
I would quit. I would not be working that job.
Can I show the 5 minutes of overtime in the shootout? Can we do that's still not 10 minutes? Damn it. Okay. What else can we put in there? Also, you know what? I'll say this. Sometimes you win pretty, sometimes you win ugly. And it was an ugly game. They scored 1 goal and their goalie got them to extra time and made some saves in the shootout to get it done. To me, that's the takeaway, is that the goalie continues. You can he's small, it's weak opponents, it's this, it's that. You keep throwing shit at him, he keeps knocking it down.
There's no easy games. There's no easy games in this league. I don't care what teams he's playing against. There will always be ways to excuse a 925 save percentage, and quite frankly, I I don't really care. I mean, you can put him up against all these teams. It's going to even out at the end of the day. Even if he ends up, sliding down to a 9-15, does anybody care? I don't care. And ultimately, I think what we've seen from Wolf so far, both on the ice and in the numbers, reflects his talent level.
You're a sweet boy. Appreciate you, Mike Gould.
Anytime, Dean.
Like cooled. That's how you. Right.
That's
how you do it.
Mnemonic device.
For Mike Gould and our producer, Yasmin.
That'll do it.
See you, buddies.